All right, now to our special report on a longtime Mid-Michigan group helping survivors of domestic violence, child abuse, and sexual assault. The Bay Area Women's Center on East Midland Road is changing lives through its emergency shelter and many programs to support survivors. And the concerning data on violence and abuse, including right here in Michigan, shows why the nonprofit's mission is so important. Proud mom. Successful entrepreneur.
I've been in business for 4 years now. I do all kinds of cleaning, post-construction, residential, commercial.
But Amber Estez's life looked very different 14 years ago.
Well, I found myself in a situation where I needed help and I didn't have any family or anything.
She was being abused physically and verbally by a dangerous and controlling man who was supposed to love her.
They make you feel like you don't have help. Well, you just feel like you don't have anywhere to go. You don't have anyone to turn to.
The Bay Area Women's Center is working to change that. The nonprofit, dating back to 1975, is a safe place for survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, and child abuse.
It really doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, what your background is, what job you have. You can find yourself in a domestic violence situation.
And the numbers are concerning. The nonprofit says about 1 out of every 3 women and 1 in 4 men will experience domestic violence in their lifetime. And it's even higher in our state. Federal data shows 36% of Michigan women experience physical violence, rape, and or stalking by an intimate partner in their lives.
It's hard to see the signs when you're in the midst of it.
And it's important to note some domestic violence situations don't get physical. Advocates say abuse is also verbal, emotional, and financial. And that isolation piece can be big.
That mental control that an assailant has over them, making them feel like they're worthless. No one else will ever want them.
Each year, the Bay Area Women's Center provides services for several hundred victims of abuse.
And although we're called the Women's Center, we support survivors of any gender identity. So man, woman, non-binary, transgender.
The shelter has 12 bedrooms and 32 beds. Help is available for anyone who's afraid for their life, the lives of their children, for survivors who have pets. The Women's Center will find boarding for the animal and get them up to date on their vaccinations, also free of charge. It's the safe place Amber turned to all those years ago.
They have all the help here.
She still remembers the caring and dedicated staff who made the holidays special for her 1-year-old daughter and supported her through a very difficult loss.
That I was pregnant, but while I was here, I lost the baby. They helped me in that process too. They do go above and beyond what is in their job title.
Now, the Women's Center also offers resources for abuse survivors who don't live at the shelter, free counseling, group therapy, and legal assistance.
And we also have a sexual assault nurse examiner program. So that's for survivors of sexual assault who want to get that physical exam.
There's also a 2-year transitional housing program. Now, all these years later, Amber is sharing her story in hopes of helping other abuse survivors.
When you're in that situation, you don't feel safe.
But she says getting help can start with reaching out to the center's 24/7 crisis hotline.
Even if that's, the first step that you have to take, it's not just coming here. If you can at least call.
Her message for survivors suffering through abuse:
if they leave, even though during that time it is very hard to leave, that it is worth it. There are people in this community that will help you.
The Bay Area Women's Center is about 60% funded through state and federal grants, but it says it could see cuts this year since overall federal funding is decreasing by about 30%. Donations are also critical through fundraisers like the Wildly Gourmet Dinner and Wine Tasting this Wednesday, April 10th in Bay City. There's a link to buy tickets in this story on abc12.com. And again, advocates want people to know there are many, many resources available to help anyone who's being abused, whether it's out of a dangerous living situation or through therapy and counseling. The contact details we've mentioned in this story are also on our homepage right now at abc12.com.